Oh, I've got loads of them on me now.
Welcome to my epic Amazon jungle adventure, where I see crazy wildlife, learn bushcraft skills from tribespeople, survive torrential rainfall, and get to canoe the Amazon, full of caiman, anaconda, and piranhas. So this was our jungle camp in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. First, we needed to get to the jungle. After an 18-hour flight from the UK to Colombia, we drove to the river where we had a 4-hour boat trip. After the first part of our boat ride, we were met by our guides along with 4 of the Indigenous Tribe. Then a trek through the jungle carrying everything we would need for the next week. And even a second trip on a smaller boat before we would reach our final camp.
So there's my tarp and hammock set up in the Amazon. It's hot and it is sweaty. I didn't bring my own machete. I brought this souvenir one yesterday in Latifa. It's cleared most of the stuff that I've needed. Picked a good spot. There wasn't too much that needed to be cut down. Over there it would have took quite a while. So just taking a minute, sat under my tarp, just sat on my rucksack while I'm sorting out my day pack. Being eaten alive, just sprayed myself with the DEET. So hot. This is my view. You can hear the...
This was our jungle camp, right up against the river, and a beautiful sunset on the first night. Once it was dark, we decided to go and explore our local surroundings to see what wildlife we could find, including snakes, tarantulas, a whole range of different frogs, scorpion spiders.
There we go.
He reached into the big hole and grabbed one out.
And several large banana spiders. These are one of the most deadly spiders in the Amazon. The first morning, the Matisse ladies were teaching us how they make their pots. They gathered the clay from the river and then shape them into the bowls. They don't have a kiln here, so they leave them in the sun to dry before slowly moving them into the fire. Our guides had been working further on the camp, making tables, a kitchen area and a shelter. It was starting to feel more like home.
Ah, rats.
As it was a rainforest, we were prone to heavy rainstorms, and very early on we experienced this.
Heavy rain in a minute. Here it comes.
I thought it would be a good idea to go back to my shelter and check that it wasn't leaking and getting wet. Luckily, everything underneath was still bone dry.
That sounded like it was right above us. That sounded like it cracked a tree over there. We just heard the biggest crack of lightning ever. We're in a proper thunderstorm now.
We had been washing in the lake, but as it was full of piranhas and caiman, etc., I took the opportunity to wash in the heavy rainfall. We had been filtering and purifying the water from the lake, but to save doing this, I decided to fill up my water bottle with the rain water.
In the process of making the blowgun, black palm, split it, hollowing out the centre, sanding it.
Here the guide is helping me join the two parts of the blowgun back together with a glue tar-like resin that they gather from the trees.
No two, pero bend.
They then wrap the outside of the blowgun with the bark of a vine and then cover this again in the same resin. The blowguns that the Matisse use are very long. I made a lot shorter ones. At night we would sit round the campfire whilst Joe plays the drums. In the morning we would go for a walk to see if we could find some resources for our crafts and to learn about the plants and trees in the area. The Matisse would also spend time gathering some resources they would use for the rituals they would show us later in the week. One of those rituals was the Campo ceremony. Here they burn your arm with a stick, then rub a toxin, which is from a frog, into it.
Fairly dizzy?
Yeah, really dizzy.
Yeah.
Here is a good example of why you need to be careful of where you are in the jungle. A small tarantula not far away from my foot as I sit there.
What's my Matisse name? Macke? Oh, no more. No, thank you.
That one was good.
Like a lot of their rituals, it is designed to strengthen you and make you tougher. While you are experiencing the Campo, you will experience a lot of pain, a lot of pressure in your head, dizziness, you feel sick, etc.
No one's puked yet, but everybody's trying to sing to figure out who's doing it first.
As fish was our main source of protein, in the evenings we would take the smaller boat out to try and catch some fish. We were not so good at it, and occasionally they would get away. It was incredible to watch our guides steer and power the canoe one-handed whilst spearing fish with their other hand. Soon we had several fish of all shapes and sizes. Meal times would be interesting depending on what had been caught that day. In the morning I was honoured to be asked to join the Matisse along with Dan to go on a hunt for their monkey. The monkey is a very important part of the Matisse diet and makes up a big source of their protein. They hunt the monkeys with their blowguns. This was a privilege to see the men using this skill to hunt.
More.
When the men had done the hunting and found and shot a monkey, it was given to the Matisse ladies, who skinned it and cooked it in a pot with some yams. We were then shown a method that they use to trap small mammals, a kind of rat trap. That evening, keen to get out on the water, I took one of the small dugout canoes and tried to practice the one-handed paddling I had seen the locals do. It was difficult at first, but I started to get the hang of it. Paddling into the beautiful sunset, I took the spear with me with the intention to try and catch a few fish. Luckily, I did manage to get a single small fish, but it felt proud to have actually learnt this new skill. As usual, the mornings would start with a wander around the local area looking for resources. Today the Métis were going to show us their hand drill technique. This is a friction fire method where they rub a spindle in their palm into the half-board. A technique that I was very familiar with, although I had not seen it done like this. Usually I would use a lot longer spindle and carve a notch in the half. The Métis use a very small spindle and they will drill all the way through the half-board. This was very impressive to see due to the humidity of the jungle and the time it took to drill all the way through that half-board. It took all 4 of our Métis guides quite a while to make the fire with this technique, but it was a privilege to watch them work like this. It was great to see local tribespeople continue these skills that had been passed down from generation after generation. They are doing it the way that they have always done it. Here is a scorpion we found in our camp, another reminder of the dangers everywhere in the jungle. Later, we were asked to take part in another Métis tradition. This is their whipping ceremony. The idea is you have to stand there and you get whipped by the vines, but you shouldn't cry out, you shouldn't flinch, you just have to take it. This is designed to make the members of the tribe stronger in hunting and gathering. There is no room for weakness. I believe that this is also a form of punishment. The entire tribe gets whipped if the elders and the chief deem it necessary. This is to encourage the proper behavior. After such an interesting and painful series of events with the whipping, etc., I thought it'd be nice to take some time out and to go and try some primitive fishing using a very simple rod with a piece of line and a hook to see if I could catch some fish. This is the sort of fishing setup that you could make with the items in a simple survival tin. After a while, I was lucky enough to catch 3 or 4 small fish, which would go into the pot for the fish soup for lunch. We were given the opportunity to witness another ritual. This one, I believe, they were giving thanks and praise to the jungle and trees for supplying them the things they need. Although it was very difficult with the language barrier to really understand what was happening. But it was certainly interesting and fun to watch. Ah, sí, sí, sí.
Hey, danza tomorrow.
Hey, I see in this bag there's some stuff I would like to know what they use for. So the last night in the jungle we had another really bad tropical storm. As it was late in the evening there was nothing else to do but to go to our hammocks and hunker down and wait until morning. It was quite
Hopefully the trees don't fall down.
the time, such a vicious thunderstorm.
So this is the last day now, just taking down the tarp. We had a torrential thunderstorm last night, but the tarp lasted well. Didn't get wet, everything underneath is still dry.
Luckily in the morning we woke up and there was very little damage. As this was our last day, it was time to take down the tarps and any of the structures that were not part of the jungle. As we had a lot of rain, you can see the level of the lake had raised above the platform. As we left the camp, we had mixed emotions. It had been a good time. The 7 days that we had spent had been a great opportunity, but it was nice to think that we were getting out of the jungle. We could go and have a proper wash, and we no longer needed to check our sleeping bags for snakes and scorpions. On our way back to civilization, we stopped off as a treat to some tourist locations as the Monkey Island, where there were loads of wild monkeys you could walk around and feed, and they'd climb all over you, and it was really good fun.
Nico.
Oh, I've got loads of them on me now.
No, one steps on the other side.
I think that's all banana gum. I've got a monkey hat.
They have also a different back pain. Feeding, different species. No, I mean, they're getting close.
We then continued further up the river to see if we could spot some pink dolphins. These are a native species to the Amazon, and it was impressive to see them jumping and playing all around us. This brings an end to my Amazon adventure. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the Matisse that were supporting us, to Joe and Goran, our guides, and to all the friends that I had made while I was in the jungle. Such an epic adventure. Hope you have enjoyed it.